Hello. Hello, everybody. This message is going to be extremely brief, okay? Because I wasn't going to do a video, and then I was going to do a video, and I was just like, but these lessons I've already made full length videos about. So I'm just going to touch base with some things, and I think there's one concept that's maybe a new to the consciousness that I'm shaping that's out here into the YouTube universe that has my signature on it, okay? So first things first, alignment. So there's a video that I did where I talked about how we don't force alignment. It is a lengthy video. Sit down with your notes, get it so you can incorporate into your own consciousness, right? The key essentials for that video was that when you are aligned with your particular soul mission, your particular soul path, right, it is easy for people to recognize that and want to distract you from it. On this channel, our consciousness state that we're developing and growing and embodying is that we don't serve to be a distraction for anybody else. Okay. So this concept of forcing alignment does not exist. It's either you're aligned or you're not aligned, right? We do not wish to be a distraction in anyone's soul purpose or soul fulfillment, right? Because we fully understand that when every individual is following that, everything flows abundantly. You're not lacking anything because your soul mission is it's what's being fulfilled, right? We don't require to outsource the power of God to anybody. All right? Because we are divinely tapped in. And we don't take things personally. Nothing about this is personable, right? Because that divine tap in is an individualistic thing. All right? So we do not force alignment. Right. And there's going to be times in your life in which this consciousness is going to be tested. Either it stands firm in your reality or it wavers. Then you create a different reality accordingly. What has served me is understanding that on a fundamental basis. Right. This goes into a little bit into the realm of how do you deal with rejection? You may have an idea, you may be trying to create a scenario, a reality that you're trying to manifest that includes other people. If they're not aligned with that manifestation, you don't have to get upset about it, right? It just means somebody else may be more suitable for that role in that reality because they share the same aligned soul fulfillment, right? So as you're progressing in consciousness and growing and coming into who you know you are, it's important to recognize these things consciously. How do I deal with rejection? Right? And that is the key. The question itself is the key to now unlocking how we're going to amend the behavior, amend the perspective so that we bring forth a reality that's more aligned with you. And then you can have the security of knowing that what is meant for you is meant for you. So it doesn't really, if there isn't a separation consciously, it'll be fortified in your reality. All right. So that's the first thing. Another thing is that you're constantly going to be, your reality is constantly going to mirror what is in resonance and what is no longer in resonance. Okay. So in your everyday wake up, right? If you're it does help you to do the meditation because it prepares you for what you're about to experience. If you're tapped in like that, you'll know certain signals what to follow during your day, so it kind of minimizes distractions. All right? But if you're just always open for the world to try to influence you, it's easy for you to get out of alignment with what your soul purpose wants. Okay, it's a little bit more easier. So I do recommend that you always take that time to get the internal tap, and it doesn't have to be long. But once you get through that frequency of, once you get out of the realm of time, okay, you're able to be more in flow, and then the more repetition of that, the more you solidify yourself in a particular frequency and a particular reality. Okay, but in the beginning, while you're trying to break through into getting that security, you have to be aware that there's always going to be trials to make sure that you are who you say that you are. There's frequency checks. Just like if you were driving down the street, they have like those traffic stops, right? Where they check to see, do you have your license and registration? Do you have this? Do you know all that stuff, right? There's like that stuff in spiritual world, which crosses over into reality. Okay, where you're gonna get the situation. If you're saying that, if you're taking the consciousness, every rejection is a redirection. If you're taking the consciousness that, what is meant for me will always be for me, right? If you're solidifying your consciousness in that realm of existence, the reality is going to keep showing you, um, is going to keep testing to see if that's real. Okay, if that's really the resonance, because it will show you like someone's going to reject you. You're going to ask someone to do something, and they're going to be like, "No, I don't want to do that." Right? Your reaction dictates how it is, what is going to happen next. Okay, it's going to constantly be testing to see what frequency you're on, what is actually in resonance. So that's the reason why you get to the point of no resonance with certain vibrations. You don't feel anything about it. You become to the point of neutrality where it's just like, okay, you don't even have to do the affirmations because it's already ingrained in your knowing. All right. It no longer needs to be challenged because you've decided, you've made a decision on how you see life, how you perceive life, and how you're going to experience life. All of these commitments are not to external entities, but it is for your own self-development. Okay? To the point where you don't even get mad when things happen to you, because you understand that it's just a decision that is being made. What is the decision that your particular soul frequency wants to make in this situation? Do you want to indulge? Do you want to not indulge? Right? And there is not really a judgment for it. You're going to be the own judge when you see the repercussions of your actions. This is God level things, God level adjustments of perspectives, right? Because freedom comes with the idea of accountability. And once you take an accountability for something, you can't complain. There's no complaining here. Right? Can you vent frustrations? Absolutely. I'm frustrated because of this. You could just say the truth and then allow the world to redirect accordingly. Okay. All right. But when you make a decision, you stand by it and you keep going through. There's no dilly dally. There's no like, what if this other reality, you haven't solidified yourself yet. You don't know yourself yet. Okay. And this is what I think the older, and a long years ago, I was watching frequencies like on dating, and certain men were saying that some women don't know what they want. Well, maybe I want this, maybe I don't want that, da, 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 da. And then after a certain age, they become less attractive because it's like they haven't solidified themselves in the knowing of who they are. Right? Time is just passing, and you're just like, what if I want to experience this? What if I want to experience that? And like I was saying before, there's nothing wrong with wanting to experience something, but knowing what it is that you want to experience is the sign of maturity. Okay? Is the sign of maturity, is the fully understanding of oneself. I want to experience this because, right? I am tapped in and my soul is being called to do this. Right? That's a whole nother frequency than I don't know, maybe. Right? When you get to this particular frequency, there isn't no more belief. There isn't a belief. It's a knowing. And when you're tapped into that knowing, everything gets solidified. Okay? So it has nothing to do with even the perspective of what men think. We're talking about how does this consciousness benefit you? Right? That's it. Are you following soul alignment, or are you easily distracted from what it is your soul wants to be fulfilled in? Okay. That's why the idea of I just want to experience everything and da 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 da. It seems like you're just looking to be distracted and also to be like, wayward. Like you don't have a soul mission. You're just here. Right? Not that it matters what it looks like. Right. Well, what I'm saying is that I have seen a lot of times, just based off wisdom, that people will get into situations that they don't truly belong. They don't have the resonance for that place, but they're just there to be there without purpose, without direction. right? Um, Napoleon Hill describes this as the drift, right? You're just so lackadaisical that you're just easily blown with the wind. And then sometimes you get in situations that it is now to the point where you're experiencing something in your consciousness that you didn't really, that was not aligned with your heart. It wasn't truly aligned with your heart. And now you've put yourself in a predicament, a situation that was unnecessary for your soul fulfillment, right? Because you were lured in by lust, lured in by desiring something from outside of yourself. Okay? Wanting to be distracted from your own stillness. That is what we're talking about. Okay? So, there's certain experiences that bring forth heart fulfillment, and then there's certain experiences that distract you from it. The more you get comfortable with the distractions of the world, is the less likely for you to actually feel and solidify the resonance of heart fulfillment. Okay? And yes, can you be in a predicament and experience and then you could just take maybe one or two positive things from it? And yeah, you have to at that point, right? If you decided to, if your heart fulfillment was guiding you in this particular direction and then you decided to go the opposite direction, your mind naturally is going to try to put in a situation where you're like, well, I had to experience this because this and this. And then you get into the intellectual thing of it. And all trueness is just this was not aligned with your soul purpose. Okay. And at the end of the day, far be it from anybody outside of yourself, including me, to tell you what your soul purpose is. Okay. Because you could be true. It could be true. Maybe you had to experience that for you to recognize what is not aligned. Right? I've had experiences like that. Okay? I'll be the first to tell you. I have experienced that this was not aligned with me, right? And I only learned that hindsight, but I had to learn what it felt like to be out of alignment to know what it actually feels like to be in alignment. And to not only that, to really appreciate it, right? To the point where now that journey led me back to my main storyline. Okay? It's just that as we're getting older, how many cycles does it take for you to recognize that? Okay? I'm just being real with you, right? I don't know if you want to be 75 years old complaining about the same things that you were complaining about when you were 13, 20, 35, 40, right? I've seen it, right? And I don't want that for myself. So that's the only reason why I'm pressing record and talking to you right now, right? Pick sense out of nonsense. I don't force wisdom down anyone's throat. Okay? Let me take a pause. All right. Lastly, for those of us that decide to share our journeys with the community, um, it can be inspiring. It can help other people in certain situations. And then naturally, what starts happening is that you are going to draw from your experiences with others and you're going to share the story on here online. Okay. Now, we use this as a sort of like a diary, and some people they help others see the way and blah blah blah. We try not to some people try not to use names because then it puts a face to the story, and then it causes other people who are not part of the situation to now cast judgment, cast all of this projections onto that person in the energy, in the spiritual realm, without actually knowing them as a whole person, so that we don't use names and things like that. But we can draw the in spirit world. If you're talking about someone, even if you don't say their name, their energy signature is still attached to the things that you're saying. So eventually they will hear it, right? Because it was from their energy that you guys had the experience, right? You guys shared that experience. All right. So that being said, I don't think it's necessarily wrong for you to press on the camera and then talk your truth out there, knowing that you're drawing upon a situation that involved other people's energy. Okay? I don't. I just also, because it shows the other person too. Let's say they came and saw the video, then they get your true thoughts of who they are as a person or what lessons that you've learned from that experience. I don't think that's, if morally, I don't think that's unjust. I'm just being real with y'all. I don't think that's an unjust thing. Okay, because after every scenario, there's always a time of reflection. What have you learned? What have they learned? Where did you notice something that was not in alignment with your sole purpose? And there's nothing wrong with voicing that. Zero problems with voicing that. Okay. And even if you do have a problem with it, I do recommend that you sit down and realize, why am I having a problem with this? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I follow this other girl who described a situation with someone she admired online, and after she had an interaction with that particular person, that person went online and then used something she said to then create a video as to why she disagrees with what that young lady said. I don't know if you guys followed that, but that's the gist of why this thought form came into my frequency. Okay. Now, no one owes you any, you don't like any validation of whatever pedestal that you put them on. All right. People are just people, right? And anytime you press record, all you guys are doing right now is watching my um presentation of my consciousness, right? And I say presentations because I'm presenting it. But I am authentic on here and I'm authentic off of here. So anything that I'm saying here, I hold myself to because I listen to myself consistently, right? And there's a reason why my state of consciousness forms a particular pathway for my divine understanding, and all I'm doing is sharing with you. You don't have to agree, you don't have to agree, and you don't have to disagree. Okay? If whatever I'm saying is helping you, use it. Pick the sense out of the nonsense and use it, right? If we have not followed the same consciousness paths, or you don't have any resonance with what I'm saying, you're in the wrong place. I fully understand that there's people who pass the time by just downloading the consciousness of others, right? And then you take it personally when someone you do not know is talking online, and then you're like, that doesn't resonate with me. And then you go and you feel a need to have to voice it or whatever. That has nothing to do with me either. Okay? My consciousness is fortified by experience, wisdom. Okay? And not only that, there's many energy signatures that are just implanted to protect it. Okay? So there's nothing really more. I don't like if I found you on your page and I listened to you and it wasn't in resonance, I just say okay and I moved on because I came to you, right? You don't come into people's house and then want to criticize how they live, right? Because I did not invite you. Right? I literally, if you're just consuming things, you feel this need to be like, I don't want to consume this. I did not call you here. Right? Matter of fact, sometimes it's your higher self that's trying to get you to learn a hard truth that you refuse to recognize. And sometimes it is also that you get the message, it's just you don't understand it right now. Right? And this is when you get people 2 months from now, 3 years from now, and be like, I now understood what that person said. Right? I'm just a fragment in your consciousness. All right, that possibly planting some seeds for maybe later on. We are patient here, right? I've been through the trial of patience. All right, to allow things to grow and to take form and to flow. All right, if you're at the point of your journey where you're just consuming, right? You're impulsive, you lack patience, right? You're not going to get that fix here, right? That addiction's not going to be fed here. All right, so keep all of this stuff in mind. Is there anything else you would like to talk about? This is just going to be real short. I might not even post this when I record it. I did not give a new moon read, so I know a lot of you guys are going through the dark night of the soul. I left the new moon was in Cancer. I left that for those my sisters who can tap into the collective a little bit more, just better, right? I wasn't being called to that. Okay, I think I might be doing a full moon. That's what I heard in the ether. And that's, again, I don't come on here just to present, right? There's a reason why I'm being called to say something. right? Even if right now you guys are feeling like you're not getting it, I promise you, you do get it. Because even sometimes I read the comments. I think there was the last video I read a comment. It was so long, and even in her explanation, I realized that the message was received, even if she didn't lack the patience, if she lacked the knowledge or the wisdom to understand. Okay, understand, or even to have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. Okay, it's very subtle. Okay, the Aes Sedai never lie. That was a Wheel of Time reference. Okay, but if you lack the subtleties of listening and you're quick to jump to conclusions, right? You're gonna miss it. And not just here while I'm talking to you. This is in life. This is in life. This is why if there's a war on your attention spans, because it's the subtleties of life that opens new doorways of understanding, of new perspectives, and the perspectives brings forth the reality change. All right. So patience is a virtue. Okay. I really want to look up the word virtue. Hold on. All right. So virtue is strength. It says manliness here, but I rebuke that. Okay. It says virtue, conformity to a standard of right morality, a particular moral excellence, valor, a commendable quality, merit, active power to accomplish a given effect, potency and efficacy. All right. So, yes, patience is what's required for that desire of a particular effect. Okay. Just look at nature. Nature is extremely patient. Okay. It doesn't rush at a process of anything. Okay. And it's sustainable, it's continuous. Okay. So, just be mindful of that. There was something I just heard. All right. So life is a school. And if you're tapping into my class, I don't force people to listen. I don't force people to stay. It's either you're aligned with the message or you're not. We're going to round it out with this whole message right here. I've been in classrooms where I felt like my soul was like, this has nothing to do with your soul mission. And so I got up and I left. I didn't criticize the people that were meant to stay there because that's their soul path. I didn't disrupt the class with my viewpoint or try to take over the scene with my my rejection. I just got up and left because my soul was not wanting to be there anymore. Okay. And that's what all teachers want you to graduate. We don't want you to be repeating the cycles consistently. And this is exactly why, again, we don't do this for the likes. We do it for the love, right? We do it for the love of becoming, not for anyone to actually get recognition. We don't. A lot of us. When I say a lot of us, I will speak for my I and I's. All the I and I's. Okay. We prefer that you get the message, even if, let's say you come on my video and you start talking a bunch of shit, right? And if while I'm reading the shit that you're talking, I realize that the message actually sunk in your brain. I really don't give a F. I really don't. I don't care. I don't give a freak. Okay? I don't give a freak. As long as you got the message, I listen. That means that my job was accomplished, right? All of the back and forth, it is unnecessary, right? Because I know y'all don't really like it when I reference him. Some of you who are supporting me, but it's the idea. Remember when Kevin Samuel said, I get to log off here and I get to live my life, whether or not you understand what I'm saying or not, or whether or not you haven't done the prerequisites to be in this classroom or not, I get paid. God pays me. Right? That's why the classes don't have to be filled. It doesn't, right? Because literally when you're being called for something, it's just that call. Hey, I need you to set this up here. Say this message right here, because in 20 years, this person needs to see it. And tomorrow, when this person wakes up, they're going to see it. Okay? It's a situation like that. Okay? That's what alignment means. The things are already set up around you in order for when the physical comes, it's seamless. Right? All you got to do is maintain that alignment, maintain the frequency. It's already there. Right? I'm just being real. This is when people try to play God in other people's lives. When you realize that, like, Shamika's soul signature wants to experience this. So we're going to make sure that all the things are aligned accordingly for when she is aligned to receive it. Because it was already created. It was already done. It was already talked about. It was already discussed. It was already planned. Right? It's only if Shamika decides to go divert from her soul mission to be just out here lost doing whatever, if she forgets her original soul contract, right, with all these things now be delayed based off of her own frequency, based off her own lack of patience, based off her own lack of understanding what was truly gifted to her. That's what the warning was about. Misaligned experiences based off your impatience and impulsiveness. That in particular hits a lot of people, right? And this could be in any subject, whether it be matters of love, right? Moving out of time in when it comes to divine union, right? Some of you guys are just like, well, you from the time you met somebody, you knew you didn't your soul was not ignited. It wasn't like, I don't really care for this guy, or I don't really care for this girl. But you're like, well, what if? You see that what if bullshit? When you know, you know. And people are going to ask you all the time, how do you know? Because I'm tapped into God. I know what God wants. So I know what God wants. And so I know what God doesn't want. And you know that instantly. Right? Don't second guess yourself. Don't place doubt in yourself. And I think people do that because they've made decisions before that was learning experiences in which they feel like they can't trust themselves because they made a decision that led a particular outcome that was not desirable for them in that moment. But like I was saying before, those things happen during the time of learning for you to recognize it quicker, for you to recognize when something misaligned sooner than later. Because if you keep feeding the misaligned life that has nothing to do with your soul progression, you're going to just be like every year, the same cycles, right? You're going to get heavier and heavier, feeling like, like you have to do a bunch of stuff when really you don't have to, when you allow your soul to take the front seat and allow your mind and your ego to then support that by natural and divine design. Right? But the more you start thinking, no, actually, when I first met this person, I knew that they were not the person for me. But then I just started thinking, wandering. What if he is the person? What if I didn't recognize the person? Forget all that. Do the internal work so you can know yourself, so that this way, when you feel a frequency, you know which frequency is your in tune alignment. Right? It's a feeling that you get, that this was meant for me. This was God given. It doesn't come with a bunch of thinking. It doesn't come with a lot of stress. It's very easy. Right? You're not worried about what the other person thinks. You're not caring about what other people think, what they want to do. All of that has nothing to do with your soul purpose. Okay? So after all of this conversation, just stay true to yourself and be true to your soul. We do not force alignment, period. That's the conscious, that's the realm I'm living in. Right? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're blood tied to me. I don't care about none of that stuff. Right? I gotta stay true to God.